In the heart of the savannah where trees spoke through rustling leaves and the ground carried the memory of footsteps long vanished, a woman named Abina heard her sister's voice trembling through the wind. Her sister, ESI, had not been seen for weeks, not since marrying a quiet man from a distant village, one that elders claimed sat too close to the forest edge, where human laws held no power. One evening, a hawk dropped a strip of cloth onto Abina's doorstep, ESI's headscarf, damp with blood and carrying the scent of fear. Without hesitation, Abina packed a gourd of water, wrapped dried cassava in cloth, and followed the whispering trail of that scent, not knowing it would lead her far beyond anything she understood. She arrived to find ESI pale and trembling beneath a thatched roof that moaned with every breeze, her belly swollen, her breath labored like someone wrestling the weight of the sky. The man she had married stood in the corner, unmoving, watching from beneath a woven straw hat that cast his face in permanent shadow. When Abina reached for his greeting, his skin felt like cold stone, and he neither spoke nor blinked, just nodded slowly, as if remembering a ritual he didn't understand. ESI cried through the night, and before the cock's crow split the air, the child was born with a soundless gasp, its eyes already open, watching Abina, not its mother. Though exhausted and confused, Abina wrapped the child tightly in a cloth soaked with herbs and began the long walk back home, as ESI lay unconscious, whispering fragments of forgotten prayers. The baby never cried. Not once. Even as the sun scorched the earth and flies gathered and hunger gnawed at her ribs, it stared silently up at the sky as if waiting for something that hadn't come yet. When Abina stopped at a stream to cool her feet, she noticed the strangest thing: the baby's reflection didn't ripple. The water remained still. And worse, the baby had no shadow. Still, she pressed on, convincing herself the heat was tricking her eyes and that fatigue played games with the mind. That night, she camped beneath an old baobab tree, building a fire with trembling hands, too tired to question the way the leaves above her seemed to shiver without wind. She dreamed of her grandmother, who whispered in the old tongue, "You carry what does not belong to this world." Abina woke to find the baby sitting upright, its eyes still open, watching her, too alert, too calm, too knowing. When she looked again, she swore its mouth moved without sound, as if speaking to something she couldn't see. When she finally arrived back at her village, the people gathered to welcome her with warm embraces and grateful cheers, until they looked into the baby's face. One by one, they grew silent, then distant, then afraid. Even the goats bleated nervously, refusing to come near the child wrapped in red cloth. The village elder, a woman with bones that crackled like dry firewood and eyes that could pierce truth from silence, stepped forward and said only, "That is not your sister's son." Abina felt her knees weaken. The baby, still cradled in her arms, blinked slowly, then smiled. Elder Ajoe told her the truth in a whisper. What she carried was a Jekojo, a mimic spirit born in the forest and clothed in flesh, sent to spy, replace, or consume. Such spirits, she said, often took the form of children, slipping into human homes during moments of sorrow, trauma, or weakened faith. Abina's loyalty had opened the door. Her love for ESI had overrode the warnings of her ancestors, and now the spirit had followed her back, not to be raised, but to nest. It could not be killed. It could only be returned to the dark soil from which it came, by the one who carried it. Tears blurred her vision as Abina retraced her steps, alone now, with the baby quiet in her arms like a sleeping curse. The air thickened as she neared the forest edge, where the trees no longer stood. They leaned, watching, murmuring with voices she didn't understand. At the place where she had first taken the child, the wind rose sharply, and the earth split just enough to show the red eyes waiting beneath. Abina laid the baby down on the cracked earth, whispering, "Forgive me for not knowing." The spirit baby blinked once more, and then slowly, it vanished, not with a scream, not with a cry, but with a breath so cold it silenced even the birds. She found ESI again, but this time beneath a mound of fresh soil. The villagers there said she had passed the morning Abina left, her final words garbled and pained. The man in the straw hat was never seen again, though some swore they saw his shape wandering the edges of the bush, head always bowed. Abina planted cassava beside her sister's grave, praying that the land would accept the offering and that no more spirits would pass between their ward and hers. From then on, she never carried another child, not out of fear, but out of reverence for the thin veil between love and danger.